Seriously? Welcome! In this video, I'm gonna show you some tips on how you can photograph hummingbirds. It's springtime, so they're feisty, looking for love, raising babies, and therefore very thirsty. So let's start by making some homemade nectar to attract them. To do that, you will need a measuring cup, tap water, and some processed white sugar. The general rule is the mixture calls for 4 parts water to 1 part sugar, or a 4-to-1 ratio. My measuring cup here is 32 ounces or 4 cups, so I'll just fill it up. Then I will need 1 cup of sugar. Now you see me here putting the water in a pot on the stove to boil. But now the water doesn't necessarily have to be boiled, but I've done it that way for many years now, so you can too if you want. Just make sure to let it cool before, putting it out in your feeder. Now we add the 1 cup of sugar. This 25% concentration is typical to the nectar concentration found in a lot of the flowers that hummingbirds like. There's no need to add anything else like dyes or other additives. So with the nectar made, now we need a prime place to locate our feeder. Choose a window that is on the north side of your home. This way you avoid the harsh direct sunlight. Make sure it's on the side with no screen, or remove the screen if necessary. We want a nice clear view. Next, we'll clean the inside of the window up really nice. Make sure to remove any streaks. Good job, buddy. Then do the same for the outside of the window. Okay, now you're just being silly. Okay, mental note. Put chapter markers in so people don't have to suffer through your brand of humor. Got it. Time to hang up your feeder. You want one that has no perches, or at least retractable or removable ones. I have temporarily removed mine. You may want to anchor it to the ground like I'm doing if you live in a windy area. You don't want your feeder swinging into the view of your shots. And look at that! I already got a customer taking a drink. And you're getting a little foreshadowing as to how we're going to photograph them. The anchor's doing its job, but we're not quite ready yet. We need to address a few more things, and first is this ugly wooden fence for a background. If your chosen location also has an ugly background, you'll want to church it up somehow. As you can see, I have a fake plant that I'm setting up to be right behind my little flying subjects. The last thing to address is trying to control where our little subjects drink from to give us the best chances of photographing them. As you can see, with all 4 drinking ports available, this hummingbird is drinking from one on the far side. Well, that's no good. So place some tape over all but the 1 port you want them drinking from. Oh no, what's this? You can't drink from that one. Hey, no cheating. There's no perch there. Now our location is all set up. North side window that's clean and clear, feeder with homemade nectar that's anchored to the ground with only 1 available drinking port, and a better background. Now let's set up our camera. Preferably, you will want a camera that gives you control over the shutter speed, the aperture, or both, known as manual mode or M mode. Your camera should also have a continuous focusing mode used for tracking moving subjects. It's called AI Servo on Canon, or AF-C on Nikon, or something similar on other camera models. You will also want a zoom lens so you can zoom in and get as much of the subject in the frame as you can. And finally, you will want a tripod to mount your camera on to keep it steady. I have a Canon 5D Mark III with a 100 to 400 millimeter zoom lens. Position your tripod and camera to photograph the hummingbirds as they drink from the 1 available port. Hummingbirds move fast, so shutter speeds are going to need to be between 1/1000th to 1/2000th of a second. The trick to photographing them is to aim just back from the feeder. If you watch, you will see they tend to take drinks and then back out for just a split second before moving back in for another drink. That spot where they back out to is where you want to photograph them. It's all about timing. Now, there will be intervals when the action is non-stop, but then you may go 5 to 10 minutes before another hummingbird shows up. Patience is the key. You need to fight off those urges or distractions like a quick game of catch the thumb and stay focused. And be prepared to take hundreds of photos in an effort to get just 5 to 10 good ones. You will be deleting a lot of photos because the hummingbird's face was in the feeder, or the autofocus incorrectly switched to the background, or your camera just freaked out completely for a moment, or it was out of focus just enough to ruin the shot, or the hummingbird was blinking halfway and the wings looked weird, or you captured an awkward or unappealing pose, or any combination of these things. Or they were just too close to the feeder, although Photoshop's content-aware fill function is pretty amazing. Or the little buggers insisted on still trying to drink from one of the other ports. Or locate themselves on the other side that still shows the ugly background. Or decide to use something else as a perch. But in the end, if you keep at it long enough, you can capture some nice ones. You can see now how that fake plant makes the background look so much better. I shot all of these in manual mode with shutter speeds between 1/1000th and 1/1600th of a second because I do like some motion in the wings. I had the aperture as wide as I could get it, which was between f4.5 and f5.6, and the focal length varied between 250 and 400 millimeters. You may also be fortunate enough to capture some looky-loos like this white striped sparrow and this house sparrow. Now, if you want to level up your game, you can create a more elaborate setting. For this, I used a smaller perchless feeder hanging from a hook on a simple wooden post I have in a small pot supported with some rocks, my fake plant as my background again, and a potted honeysuckle plant with a swing being observed by the pride of Australia, action figure Steve Irwin. We miss you, buddy. Finally, I had some leftover AstroTurf that I hung on the cinder block wall to again create a green background. With the windows cleaned and the camera set up, I was able to capture a few more interesting shots. It's great when they use the swing, as they can get quite animated and love to use it to clean their beaks after drinking. But you can also see that I botched it up myself by not having my fake plant in quite the right spot. But this one with the sandy colored cinder block wall as the background still came out nice, I think. And of course, another location lends the opportunity to capture another party crasher like this mockingbird. And that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this video and feel prepared enough to give it a shot yourself. Please leave a comment below if you like and consider subscribing. In a month or two, I hope to be photographing some peregrine falcons when the babies are ready to fledge, as well as some plovers and least terns, and I'll try putting together some videos of that. Special thanks goes out to Sandra Hiller for all of your kind words. I hope you'll tune in next time.